Hi Libra, welcome to your solar eclipse in Leo special with me, Raphael from Reydiant.reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, before we start, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I would be eternally grateful for it. I'm just nearing 24,000 subscribers and I literally cannot believe it. The excitement and the happiness that I feel is just, it's insane. So thank you so much for being a part of that. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the email address below. And yeah, let's just go straight into it. Oh, one more thing that's worth mentioning. If you haven't already, check out the Retrogradia mini series. It's a 3-part series of all the retrograde planets that we're going to have going on off the back of and in the middle, well, yeah, off the back of this eclipse season. It's a 12-day window, but it's going to offer some really deep insights into what we can do and some of the changes we can implement in our lives now. So, a solar eclipse in Leo. In fact, before we start, let me bless these notes, my cards, and with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that whatever messages come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, this is you, Libra, and it's worth mentioning, I'm going to put this little lady, Venus, in your sign. But before we go into that, let's talk about the eclipse. So a solar eclipse is an initiatory energy. It's a beginning. It brings something into your life. It provides the energy that we need to implement something. It accompanies the new moon. A new moon is the time of beginnings. It's when you it's when you plant the seeds that you want to grow in your life. It's when you put in place the things that you need to in order to sustain that growth or to push towards the things that you want to happen later on. So the sign of Leo, is worth mentioning, is about your heart. It's about what you're passionate about. It's about creativity, joy, optimism, fun, speculative gambling as well, if that's your thing. You know, you find all of that stuff in the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo. Now the sun is consciousness. It brings consciousness. It sheds light on that sign. For you. This is taking place in your 11th house. So I mentioned the 5th house just because that's the natural house of Leo, but this is happening for you in your 11th house. Now this solar eclipse beginning, fresh start, new idea, new paradigm, new consciousness, is happening conjunct a Mercury retrograde. Now Mercury is all about your thought process and your communications, which is why when it goes retrograde, everything in communication tend to get a bit crazy. But ultimately what I believe about the Mercury retrograde happening in Leo, it's about bringing your mind, your consciousness and your thoughts down into your heart space. It's about asking yourself now, what are your heart's desires? What do you truly care about? What do you want to inject more fun, more creativity, more joy and optimism into? And how can you get more of those things out of this house in your chart? So if you're ascendant Leo especially, and for sun signs as well, this is happening in your 11th house. So what is that asking you? The Mercury retrograde in your 11th house is taking place and it's asking you to get really clear about how you draw enjoyment from your friends, from your tribe, from your group associations. What groups are you attached to? Are they making you more creative? Are they passionate? Are you passionate about them? Do you feel like you can put your heart and soul into them? Ultimately as well, Leo is about strength and courage and pride and putting those things into your 11th house. You're being asked and you'll be given a new beginning in that sector of your life as well. So you're being asked to choose, to choose what are your truest heart's desires. How can you bring all of those, all of those things that I mentioned into your group associations? Are your group associations and your tribe offering you that? People on your wavelength are found in there, in the 11th house. Now, it's worth mentioning as well, for you personally, your ruler, Venus, is in your sign, which is going to put you in a great stead compared to everybody else. Why? Because Venus is the lesser benefic. She blesses you. She's going to make you more beautiful. She's going to make you more optimistic, more diplomatic, if that were even possible for a Libra. You guys are the great mediators of the zodiac and I love you for it. I've got my stepmom actually is a Libra and I have such a big love for her because she taught me so much throughout my lifescape. Now, Venus is going to be there, and she's going to be smoothing off the edges of this energy. She's going to be, you know, where everyone else is feeling the intensity, she's going to be buffering the edges of that, and you know, and it's going to take on a more loving, a more caring feel for you. You know, remember, this is a snapshot of what the eclipse is going to bring you. So the fact that you've got Venus there in your own sign is kind of lending ability to the 3 to 6 months that the toolbox or the blessing that the universe is going to give you in and of the eclipse. So what else have I got here? The eclipse is a beginning. If you're invited to groups and gatherings or charity events especially, go ahead, because you might find there more than you bargained for. You might, and when I say more than you bargained for, you might find associations come to you that you didn't expect to be a part of, but you want to be a part of. You might find that you have more fun than you expected. If you get any invites over the next 3 to 6 months from the eclipse onwards, go. Because the chances are you're going to learn and you're going to grow and you're going to find out what your truest, biggest reaches. The other thing about the 11th house is that's where you find your goals and your aspirations, the higher vision, the higher perspective for your life. And because it represents the group and the tribe or the people on your wavelength, it can see you finding the people that are going to facilitate you to achieve the dreams and the goals and the higher life vision that you have for yourself. You know, and that's really, really exciting. Also worth noting as well, Jupiter in Scorpio, that's in your 2nd house. Jupiter in Scorpio is, it's about what you truly desire, like what you really desire, what your deepest motivations are. And that's going to be forming a square. Now this is, so Jupiter's blessing your 2nd house at the moment, Libra. You know, finances, money, self-worth, all of those things are going to be looking great. But it's squaring the eclipse conjunct the Mercury retrograde. Now the Mercury retrograde conjunct the eclipse is going to be asking you to bring yourself down into what you truly desire, but it's going to ask you about how you balance your finances and your kindness in terms of your finances and what you value with your 11th house stuff. So on a practical level, this can see you really asking, am I always footing the bill? Am I putting my hand in my pocket too much? Is it time for me to dissociate myself from groups that expect me to do that on a consistent basis? It will see you asking that. Now the thing is with a square, it provides the right kind of energy that you need to push past something. So it makes you uncomfortable enough to initiate the changes that you need to in order to change the situation or the experience that you're having that you do not resonate with or dislike, let's be honest. A Libra, dislike somebody. You guys do, but you're just so low-key and diplomatic about it that people don't really notice it. I think that's how it works. You know, you've got a really you guys are like the Loki of the zodiac. You really know how to not necessarily lie, but you know how to say what you want to say. Paraverbal communication. If you don't know anything about that term, look it up. Libras do that so well. Anyway, personal values, yeah, so that's kind of everything that I want to offer on this. Let's see what your card is for the let's see what the tarot message is for this eclipse for you, Libra. You get the Fool. This is brilliant, and the reason this is brilliant is not just because it represents pure potential, it represents the ability to create anything that you choose, but it talks about new places, new people. If you're invited anywhere, go along, because you might find that you have a lot of fun and you can just fool around. The other part of the Fool is the 0 is pure potential. It can become anything that you choose to shape it into. And the Fool card as well, in relation to all of this, excuse me, the Fool card is often represented, you know, or has deep links to Aquarius, which interestingly enough is ruled by the 11th house where this is taking place for you. Even though it's a solar eclipse in Leo, Leo is your 11th house as an ascendant, or, you know, as a Libra. Depending on what you're, you know, you get what I mean. But yeah, because it's got links to Aquarius, this is about people that think outside the box. This is about people that are different, people that are going to force you to think in different ways. But more importantly, they're going to be supportive and they're going to be happy, and they're going to remind you of brighter and lighter times that you've had in your life. Libra, I wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance itself. Have an amazing eclipse, and I will see you very soon for more videos. Take care.